Hello, delicious human. So today's episode 61, and as of here now, I was thinking along the lines of titling this episode, I'm Not Preachy. So I reviewed yesterday's episode, and of course it was somewhat cringe. And it sounded like a little preachy as well. So I just want to remind myself and remind anyone who comes across these episodes that I really endeavor and do my best to not come across as preachy, because in a time and an age and an era where we all think we know everything and we don't realize how little we do know, I definitely don't want to come across as the one who thinks she knows it all. So yeah, I thought this episode would be maybe a good way for me to remind myself. And I also thought I would pick things up a notch and get a little outside my comfort zone and do a recording whilst I walk. You know what I mean? Just add a little bit of spice and all things nice. Mr. Poochie. So we are currently walking in one of my favorite forests. It's the most therapeutic, healing, and truly magical forest. It's just down the road or down the way from where we stay. And time has gotten away from me today, so I'm trying to fold it. And I thought, well, what a better way to do my recording today, or today's episode, as I take my little stroll in the forest. It won't be a long episode, you know. But yes, I guess today was more around me coming on here and just reminding myself to not be preachy. And I guess I can catch myself doing that very easily. In fact, I've been feeling and becoming a lot more aware of how judgmental I am. Like, we'll go out for a cup of coffee, and I love, guys, let me just stop here and just tell you this. I love to people watch. I really do. I love just watching people. I think it's the most fascinating thing. Like, you can tell so much about a human just by how they stand and how they walk and how they move their body and how they project their voice and all those things. And I don't know if it's this innate researcher in me that is still holding on and still wanting to survive through the times and through the eras. But yes, I do find myself people watching, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's actually quite a interesting hobby, you know. As the mosquito comes to bite me, I might just smack myself every so often, but I'm going to warn those mosquitoes now. If you come and bite me, you will die. Don't suck my blood without my permission. You will die. Do you understand? Just a little warning there. Okay. Anyway, back to episode 61. So yes, I do find myself people watching. And perhaps it's because I used to be in market research, and that's what I used to get paid to do. You know, I used to get paid to observe people and question and interrogate people and witness and observe their witness their responses, their behaviors, because, you know, so many times people say one thing but they actually mean another. And I guess that's what I was really good, or that's what I'm really good at doing. But I do sometimes find myself, caveat, I do, being honest here, I do find myself passing a little bit of judgment. And yeah, it's just something that I don't want to do anymore. Like, I find it interesting how there's a fine line between observation, and there reaches a point where the observation starts to turn into analysis or psychoanalysis or review or processing, perhaps is a better word to use. And it's at that particular point where the judgment usually starts to get formed and fostered. So perhaps today's episode is a reminder for me to become a little bit more observant and aware of myself during those moments and times and processes. And I don't even know if judgment is a human condition. Is judgment a human condition? I really don't know. I don't know if judgment is a human condition, to be honest with you. But it's definitely something that I've really come to notice within myself and feel within my physical being and body. And I don't like doing it. It makes me feel all kinds of guilt afterwards. It makes me feel like, how can I judge one, for then I am obviously judging myself. And I am done with judging myself. Observing, reviewing, amending, altering, enhancing, modifying, adjusting, correcting, celebrating. Yes, those are all things that I want to partake in. But judgment is just, not necessarily one of those things. And here I am judging judgment. The human life. It's so interesting, right? So this is actually where I'm paused, is one of my favoritist little spots. The preachy and I love to just come to this beautiful tree. She's very feminine in nature. I don't know if you can see that. But she's just gorgeous. And I love sitting here by her. She brings me just so much groundedness and peace and calm. They were going to come through here and build something where they were going to take away most of these trees. There was a huge petition in our neighborhood. And it was so interesting because instead of me going to meetings and being part of WhatsApp groups where everybody was just complaining, there was just people complaining. I was like, I just used to come speak to the trees. I was like, guys, I'm communing with the trees. There's a mycelium network under these guys, and they're going to communicate with the trees where they need to be, and they're going to whisper in the right people's ear that this forest is not to be tampered with, that it's really sacred and it's a magical space and place. And it personally has offered me an immense amount of healing and restoration. I guess that's the way I approached that particular little drama, should I say. So yes, magical human. Let me pause for a moment as I contemplate and think if there's anything else that I wish to share, and also check my sound. It's interesting because I know being a preacher is quite a revered profession in many spaces and places. And I don't want to judge being a preacher. But I also don't want to preach from a space and place of judging another when I too am acknowledging the humanness of my own essence and being, and how having all those eccentric quirks and faults and flaws are part of the magic design and process. Are they not? Because it would, I guess, be saying that God doesn't know what God's doing, God's just throwing the dice and hoping for the best. And I definitely don't subscribe to that. So I don't want to be too hard on myself for being a preacher, but I also want to check myself before I wreck myself. And just want to remind everyone that even though I post these episodes daily and I have my opinions and views, and I try my best to share that from as an authentic space and place as I possibly can at that particular point in time, I too am human, And I'm also still learning. And I guess I'm here to remind you that the only person who has true sovereignty and say over you is you and nobody else. Nobody else. You and all right, the almighty creator, because, big chief's in charge, or big high priestess, however you see God. So yes. So here's to being less judgmental. Here's to being a preacher with purpose and with promise and with poise. And until tomorrow's episode 62, as always, continue to sow those seeds, allow for the flow and the magic of life to find you so that you may ultimately grow, illuminate, and glow. I'll see you tomorrow, you magical, wondrous, and wise being. Remember, get out into nature. Ground yourself. Look, ground. See? Ground yourself. Take off the shoes. Make a sand angel. Why just snow angels? No. Make a mud angel or a sand angel or a grass angel or something. All the angels deserve to be celebrated, not just the snow angels, guys. Anyway, have a good one. See you tomorrow.